Good evening, everyone. It's Larry Sharpe here live in New York City. I'm running for the governor of New York 2018. This is the governor's house. You might say, Larry, you look kind of odd or weird because allergies today are ripping me to shreds. But I'm still here for you, allergies or not. Doesn't matter. I'm here for you. Try and take some Zyrtec. Didn't work. Neti pot. Yes, I'm a hippie. Didn't work. Anyway, we'll see if it gets better. And if it doesn't, so what? I'm here. I want to talk today about something specifically because of what's been happening recently with the actor from Sex and the City. She was talking about marijuana, and she wants to legalize marijuana. And that's great. I'm happy that she wants to legalize marijuana. Wonderful. But the reason why she mentioned it and what she talks about constantly is she wants to legalize it because it's unfair to minorities. She talks about black and Hispanic people, how they're arrested so much, and how white men take advantage of this and things of that sort. Now, in many cases, she's right. But why bring up race and gender? Why, in this case, bring up race and gender? It's not required here. The idea and the concept of legalizing marijuana, I agree with, as I'm sure you know, if you happen to watch my presentation at the marijuana cannabis parade and event in New York City, I mentioned it. I said I was very happy when I heard Nixon talking about legalizing marijuana. I thought at first, great, I have a celebrity endorser. And I realized, nope, she's just copying my policy. So no worries. But my point being, in this case, it's just wrong. People have had their lives ruined because of the war on drugs, because of the war on marijuana for no reason. We can just focus on the idea that there are too many people who've been put in jail and had their lives ruined over a plant. If we just talk about it that way, we don't have to bring up race. But guess what will happen? It'll help people more who are black and Hispanic because they're arrested more. So we will wind up helping them without having to bring up race. And we say, Larry, you have to bring up race. No, not at all. Of course not. There are times when you absolutely should bring up race, no question. There are times when it doesn't really matter very much. This is one of the cases that doesn't matter. The point is, if you begin to bring up race every single time, whenever you possibly can, the problem is when you really need it, when it really matters, when race is really affected, no one will hear you. You'll wind up being a social justice warrior that is now no one hears. You just hear a yell and a scream. You don't hear the reality when it actually matters. In case you hadn't noticed, I'm black. I don't bring it up every day. I don't talk about it every day. But sometimes it comes up. And when it comes up, I'm happy to deal with it. I'm not ashamed of it. It's what it is. Awesome. That's great. But I don't have to bring it up every day. In fact, driving with one of the people on my team, and he's white, and we're talking, and I'm telling him some stories about how when I cross the street and leave my house, always, no matter what, I always have my wallet on me. And he says, why do you always have your wallet on you? He asked me a question. I said, because my father taught me that you always, as a person of color, we didn't say person of color in the 70s, we said black guy. So as a black person in the 70s, what you do is you always have ID on you. If you don't have ID on you and the cops grab you, you're getting arrested because you fit a description. That's what I was taught in the 70s as a kid growing up in the Bronx. And to this day, I still do it. I don't cross the street to go to my deli without my wallet in my pocket because my father taught me as a black male, you always have ID on you. Always. No matter what, no exception. I still do it to this day. I'm 49 years old, and I still walk across the street with my wallet in my pocket if I want to go grab a sandwich or something. I still do it. Now, why does that matter? Because he said to me, wow, that's interesting. I never thought of something like that. He said, Larry, every time you get into an elevator, you're always very friendly. And I said, again, my father taught me that in the 70s and the 80s. You're a black man. You get into an elevator. People get afraid of you. Be nice. Be friendly. Always do that. It's the right answer. My father taught me how to survive in this world. That's what I do still to this day. People see me. I chat people up in the elevator all the time. I started that when I was probably 10, and I still do that to this day. Now, why did I say that? I brought this up to him. We were talking. This is just something we were chatting about here or there. And he said, Larry, I'm starting to think now about this idea of white privilege. And I don't want to use white privilege as a name because it isn't white privilege. That white privilege is not is not the right phrase. And the reason why I say it is there are a lot of white people in this world who suffer, who struggle, who hurt. Where the hell's their privilege? And they get angry and go, where's my white privilege? I'm hurt. I'm struggling. I'm suffering. And they're right. There is absolutely a difference between being raised a person of color in the United States and being raised white. There's a difference. But it's not white privilege. If anything, and I'm making this up now, if anything, perhaps it's a person of color's burden, or a white man or a black man's burden, perhaps, that sometimes he has to act a certain way or do a certain thing so that he's accepted, or so he's not looked upon in a different way. Perhaps I could buy that, maybe. But the idea, again, of always bringing up the idea of it's the white male, it's the white this, it's white privilege. If we constantly bring this up, all we're going to do is push people away, be more divisive, and when race really matters, for example, things like sentencing in prison sentences, where race actually does clearly matter, when those types of things pop up, no one's going to hear us. This isn't just the white thing, though. I was at an event in Harlem, and it was an event, we were talking about Second Amendment rights, defending yourself, things of that sort. And when I was there, people were talking about some of the bad things that cops do sometimes, right? And I'm like, oh, cops do this, cops do that, whatever. It's not a negative thing. It's just bad cops, bad teachers, bad everybody, right? We're talking about this kind of thing. And one of the guys who's running the thing, the actual moderator, says, let's not confuse this, what it really is, and that is white supremacy. And he brings up this concept of white supremacy and blah, 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 white supremacy. And in this case, most of the audience was black. Probably 95%, 90% of the audience was black. A large percentage was black. But there was a white guy on the panel with us. And there were a couple of white people in the audience. You're going to bring that up when it's not about white supremacy? Because black cops kill people and beat people too. And so do Hispanic cops. They kill people and beat people too. It's not necessarily a racial thing in that regard. But he brought it up to defend himself because he was a former black police officer. And I said, what are you talking about? Why are you bringing up white supremacy here? This is bad policing policies. This is the war on drugs. This is bad cops. This isn't white supremacy. Why would you bring this up? He got mad at me. And I got mad back. I told him literally, I said, you pulled it out of your ass. Now, why would I do that? I did that because I want to make sure that when we bring up race, it's when it matters, when it needs to be brought up, so that when we bring up race, people are okay talking about it. And when we bring up race, we don't make anyone who's not the race in this case feel so awkward they won't talk. They won't say a word. How is the white guy on the panel supposed to answer that question? How is he supposed to talk? I just shut him down. We can't deal with race if people don't talk about it. If you say someone's a white supremacist because talking about police activity, how the hell can they have a conversation with you? It's a terrible idea. Gender 2. Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry, my allergies are bugging me. Gender 2. All of a sudden now, we're talking about marijuana, and Nixon's talking about white men. What the hell does men have to do with this? How did this become gender? Now, by the way, she's talking, if you've noticed, she's talking about the 1970s idea. The 1970s terrible marketing plan when they were talking about homosexuality and teasing vote for Cuomo, not the homo from the 70s. Now she's bringing up homosexuality. Now she's bringing up whether someone's gay or not. Why? Why? Are people actually looking at the next thing going, oh, she's a lesbian, I can't vote for her? Of course not. Of course, particularly in New York City. Come on, stop. That's simply not true. Particularly in New York City. No one in New York City actually cares whether Cynthia Nixon is a lesbian or not for voting purposes. I mean, why? Who cares? She's talented or she's not. She's good or she's not. She's not. But she's good or she's not. That really isn't the point. I don't care at all whether she's lesbian or gay or straight. Who cares? That's not the issue here, particularly in New York City. Why am I saying these things? Because I don't want us to jump in to race and gender when not required. Because there are serious issues in this country that have to deal with race and gender. And we want to make sure that when we bring them up, two things are true. One, they're priority and valuable. So when we have the conversations, they matter. And second, they're inclusive. They're inclusive. Because whether you are the other or not in any given gender or race conversation, you still have to be part of the conversation, or you can't make the issues become better or hopefully, eventually, go away. All right. Let's get a quick call. Let's see if this is on topic or not. I'm okay either way. Is this Michael? Nico. Nico, how are you?
Nico. Good. How are you, Mr. Sharpe?
What's going on?
Not so much. It is a little bit off topic. And,
no worries.
I am a pretty big fan. I've actually I recently heard of you from Facebook advertising, and I'm in social media marketing. So, the first impression was fantastic on my end. So I appreciate that.
Okay.
I appreciate your forward thinking, and it's fantastic to see somebody running for a political office with this forward thinking, because you see, especially with Mark Zuckerberg's latest pretty much interrogation by all the current politicians who had no idea what Facebook is.
That's true.
I had a question. So why should somebody like me, I'm a conservative, I'm part of the Conservative Party in New York, vote for a libertarian rather than Mark Molinaro?
Sure, it's a great question.
When
it comes to conservatives, the advantage to the Libertarian Party is it doesn't matter to us and to me personally whether you're conservative or liberal. That's not important to me. What's important to me is that you're able to live your life the way you want to live your life. I don't want to impose my will upon you. People often think I'm very conservative or very liberal. This is day to day. Someone goes, he's real liberal. Other person, he's real conservative. It's because I'm not concerned about what you want to do with your life. If you want to be someone who wants to homeschool, if you want to be part of your church, if you do anything that is typical in a conservative, if you care about your Second Amendment rights, awesome. Take them all. Freedom of religion, freedom of association, freedom of speech are all rights that I support 100%. Now, for a conservative, specifically for a conservative, to be forward with you, you don't have a candidate in this race. The candidate you had was DeFrancisco. He stepped down. You no longer have a candidate in this race. There are no conservative candidates in this race anymore. So the closest thing you have is me. While the sacrificial lamb they're going to pull up from Dutchess County is going to run, the last thing is a conservative. Literally, I was on the Shannon Joy show, who's a conservative talk show host in Western New York. I was on her show, was it yesterday? 2 days ago. 2 days ago. 2 days ago, she literally said on the air, he's a fake candidate. Now, she's a conservative, and she said that. So to answer your question, while the other people in this race are going to try to enforce their will upon you, they're not conservative. Me, while I'm not conservative, a part of your party is not going to support me. Your party is going to support Molinaro. It's a mistake, and it's embarrassing, and they shouldn't, because he's not a conservative. But I'm going to let you be who you want to be. I'm going to support you being conservative. I'm not going to force you to fund things you don't want to fund that you think are morally wrong. I'm not going to force your tax dollars to go places you don't want them to go that you think are morally wrong. I'm going to support your local church if you want that church to give you health care, if you want that church to give you child care. I'm going to support your right to assemble with whom you want to assemble with. So even though I may not be the perfect conservative candidate, and I'm not, I'm the best thing you got, because I'll let you be, support you to be, and back you when you want to run your life your way. Did I answer your question?
Yes, it's kind of scary. It's scary sometimes to see a third party, because I feel so strongly on more libertarian side of things. I agree with a lot of things you have to stand for, but I'm almost afraid to not vote for like the typical Republican candidate, because more or less he has more support. So what are some of the things you're doing to gain more support?
Let me give you the most important thing that you need to understand, my friend. Let me be very forward with you. If you are a Republican in this state and you're listening, let me be very clear. You have no chance of victory at all. Zero. You are never going to win. If you vote for the Republican in 2018 in a statewide election, let me be very clear. Locally, Republicans are very viable, and they will win locally. Absolutely. Statewide election, you are throwing your vote in the garbage. There hasn't been a Republican elected statewide in all of them, attorney general, lieutenant governor, governor, senator, all those statewide elections in a decade or more. They're not going to win. They are not viable in this state in a statewide election. The state's simply too blue, and Republicans, conservatives don't vote because they don't have any exciting or interesting candidates. They have no infrastructure. If you want to go vote for the sacrificial lamb who will be slaughtered on the altar, you can go ahead. You are throwing your vote away for two reasons. Number one, he's not going to win, and he can create no impact and make no change. Nothing will change when you vote for him. You vote for me, win, lose, or draw, there's change. Win, lose, or draw, I will say the things you want me to say. You will hear me talk about that. I will move the needle because I'm a third party. So that's why you should stop wasting your time voting for Republicans who won't change the thing. The people who are conservative in this state, they care about their Second Amendment rights. The Republicans are the ones with Democrats who voted for the SAFE Act and funded it just last month. This is your party, Republicans? What, are you kidding me? Just being full with you, my friend. If you feel afraid and you want to vote for Republicans, go ahead. You might as well not bother voting. You might as well vote in the garbage. Nothing will happen. No impact. You might feel good because you voted for your team, but that's it. But if you actually want to be able to be more conservative in your own state, you're not going to happen. Cuomo was very clear. He said there's no place for conservatives in this state. That's what he said, and he meant it, and he doubled down. I say there's plenty of room for you in my state. Plenty of room for you and liberals too, and anybody else who just doesn't want to enforce their will upon others. There's plenty of room, tons of room. Vote for the Republican, keep getting punished. Vote for the Democrat, keep getting punished. Vote for me, get your rights back. I hope that was clear.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Sharpe. I appreciate it, and good luck.
Thank you. Have a great night.
My support.
All right, guys. Quick break. Then I'll get right back in with your calls and questions. Please post them, call. We'll talk soon.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network. Are you stuck in a rut? Negative thoughts, feelings, and conversations got you down? Hi, I'm Noreen Sumter of Potential. Tune in every Tuesday at 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time and listen for new ideas on my show, Beyond Potential, Live Life Your Way, on talkradio.nyc.
Who do you want to connect with?
Are you an entrepreneur or intrapreneur looking to build your following?
Welcome to our show.
Follow Me Friday with Joan
and Priya.
Tune in every Friday at noon Eastern
on talkradio.nyc.
We're your digital connectors. Woo woo!
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
It's Larry Sharpe here at the Governor's House. I'm Larry Sharpe. I'm running for governor in 2018, New York. If you want to help me, LarrySharpe.com, Sharpe with an E. I have to notice, I notice every time, Marlene Mignano, you're on again. You were watching me last week, and you're now watching me again this week. It's my crush from when I was 12 years old. Thank you so much, Marlene. You make me feel nice and warm. Thank you.
You got to quit calling her out. Your wife's gonna get.
My wife's gonna get mad at me now.
Yeah.
She's gonna be like, "No."
Yeah, she was on earlier. I don't know if she's still watching. Here, I can.
Yeah, she's gonna be like, "Stop talking that Marlene girl." Yeah, exactly. Yes, but no, it's true story, guys. It's funny. It's about. Let's see. Wow. I don't want to say how long ago. Marlene might be mad at me, but yes, we were in elementary school together. Elementary school together, and I had a crush on her, so I still remember. Isn't that nice? Anyway, go ahead, please.
Winnie asks, "What is your view on sanctuary cities and illegals?"
I get this question all the time. It's a big issue. People are upset about illegals and mad about sanctuary cities. And here's the issue. One person once told me something when he left one of my events. He said, "Larry, I agree with you on a lot of things, but not everything. But I get that whatever I don't agree upon, you will let me fix it locally." I said, "Yes, I want more localized government, more people who locally choose what's right for them. The problem that Suffolk County, for example, is having with MS-13 is not a problem we're having in Queens. It's simply a different problem, a different issue. So why should we have the same rules and regulations, right? The problems you're having with farmland more towards Western New York or even in the North Country is different than the problems you're going to have in Westchester. So I understand that. So what I want to do, I want to allow the local counties to decide how they want to deal with sanctuary cities. And I say, but Larry, then there'll be sanctuary cities in New York. There will be, because the odds are New York City is going to happily be a sanctuary city. That's what New York City wants, but other counties won't. But Larry, then we'll have these illegals in our state. Yes, but not in your county if you don't want them, because you will decide to not be a sanctuary county. You will decide that you will use law enforcement to do what you need to do with your illegals. You'll do that, and illegals will leave your county and go to other counties that are happy to have them. And if most counties don't want them, then the state will become a non-sanctuary city state. And if all the counties decide to be sanctuary cities, then it'll be a sanctuary city state. I'm totally fine with each county choosing what it wants. I'm totally fine with the local people deciding how they want to deal with their immigrants. For some people, they may decide it's the right answer. For some, they won't. I know in New York City, our city would shut down tomorrow with illegal immigrants. It would just shut down. So we couldn't have it happen here in Queens, Manhattan, the Bronx. It's not going to work. But other areas, it probably would. So my stance on sanctuary cities is let the local municipalities, the local counties decide how they want to deal with their immigrants. I'm fine with that. The reality of it is the biggest problem when it comes to immigrants is federal anyway. So let the federal government deal with it, and we'll deal with it locally. That's my answer. So I'll take another phone call. This is, hey, it's Larry. How are you?
How you doing, Larry?
You have a great name.
Yes, I do, and so do you.
There we go. What's going on, my friend?
Not much. I've been following your campaign, telling everybody I know about it, trying to get the word out on you.
I love that.
I live up here in Saratoga, New York, and I want to know your thoughts on healthcare. My costs are going up almost exponentially.
Yes.
And that's the only thing I haven't heard you talk about.
Yeah, well, there's a problem right now is they're trying to create right now basically Cuomo Care, right, which is going to be New York State's, statewide, basically the VA for everyone. Yes, I said it, the VA for everyone. We're going to make it to where the VA, which was a disaster, the VA for everyone, statewide healthcare. A lot of people are happy about that. Like, everyone's going to be covered. That's going to be amazing. There are a lot of problems with this. The first thing is we don't need healthcare insurance reform. And that's what this is. And that's what Obamacare was. What we need is health care reform. There is a huge difference. We need to have health care reform first and then healthcare insurance reform. If we don't do that, what's going to happen is a two-tiered system. And that's happening now, which is, you might wonder, why are so many wealthy people okay with Obamacare or Medicaid for all or insert thing here? They don't mind this. Why? Because they don't pay for it. The wealthy, they don't actually go to any of they don't always take insurance. The wealthy pay cash. How do I know that? That's what's happening in Manhattan right now, right? If you go to Manhattan right now and you go to the best doctors, they don't take any insurance. None. Zero. Nothing. You pay by credit card or check. That's how you go. Here's how it works. If you go to a place that takes Medicaid, Medicare, there are 5 administrators and 2 doctors in that office. And the 5 administrators care more about about photocopying your information than you, because their customer isn't you. Their customer is the government, or their customer is the insurance company, not you. So their system is set up to make their customer satisfied, the government or the insurance company. You're in the way. Why are you even here? Just give me your card, zip you through so I can get paid. So if you notice, if you go to one of those places, the appointment's at 2 o'clock, you get seen at 3:45. If you're lucky, the doctor sees you for 5 minutes and throws you out, gives you a prescription as soon as possible, and you're gone. That's what the doctor does, because you're in the way. Change that now. You go to a place that does not take insurance. Not 5 administrators and 2 doctors, 5 doctors and 2 administrators. Totally different. That you go there at 2 o'clock, you get seen latest 2:05. Your doctor actually talks to you, lets you know what's going on, ask questions. You have a conversation back and forth. So if we go without changing health care and we just change healthcare insurance, we are going to surely have a 2-tiered system. That's happening in certain countries in Europe, by the way, now already. The wealthy get their specialized, and then the poor people get everything else. That's happening already in Europe. That's going to happen here. So will everyone be covered? Yes. Will they get good service? No. They'll get terrible service. They'll get second-tier service. They'll get bad service. You think there's lawsuits now for malpractice? It's going to be tons of them because all the best doctors are going to not take any insurance. All the worst doctors will. That's already happening, and it will continue to happen. It's going to be a pace where everyone's covered, but there's two tiers of service. And when no one's at the low level is going to care what kind of service they get, it's going to be terrible. How do I know that? It's already happening in Europe. And if you look now at all the different types of services you get in the medical field that don't have insurance, LASIK surgery, cosmetic surgery, liposuction, insert thing here, all of those. What's happened? Prices have gone down, service has gone up, technology has helped out, and people are getting better results, better results, better results. Why? Because the individual person is the customer. So what do we have to do? I do not want us to focus on healthcare insurance reform. I want us to focus on healthcare reform. Number one thing to do, number one, transparency. Right now, literally, if I go to a doctor, let me give you an example. All right, I get a new job, and I decide I'm going to go now and go buy a suit or some clothes for a new job. I go to my new job. I go to my men's warehouse or wherever I go to go get my suits and my clothes. Guy comes up, gives me all the clothes. Oh, here you go, great. Love this, love that. Asks me questions, gives me shirts, jackets, ties, pants. Great. I go, oh wow, it's awesome. I say, how much does it cost? He says, I don't know. So what? I don't know. But it's perfect for you, Larry. This is exactly the right suit, exactly the right clothes. It's perfect for you, but I have no idea how much it costs. What are you talking about?
Right.
He says, I tell you what I'm gonna do. You take it, go, and you're gonna get a bill in the mail in about a month, and whatever that bill is, you have to pay. That's how healthcare works right now. That's the current system. What I'm telling you is we have to have a system to where people know what it costs. But Larry, how is that possible? How can we do that? Simple. It's happening already. There's places right now in Oklahoma. There's places right now around here who are actually coming up with places where they have to have pricing. Here's what it costs, and they're making money. How can we do that? It's happening already. It's happening with LASIK eye surgery. It's happening. But other people come with other ideas, which is they take no insurance, but they follow what's called the Costco model. What does that mean? You have like 1,000 people, and what happens is each person pays, I'm making these numbers up totally, $500 a month per person, $100 per month per person, whatever that is. They all pay a flat fee per person. Show up whenever you have a problem. It's $5 to show up. When this model was tried free, what happened is senior citizens kept showing up every day, using it as a place to hang out. So they actually stopped it for free. So they had to pay something. So they charged them $5 to show up, or $10, some low amount. I made the $5 up. I don't know what the actual number is. It's a very low number to show up to the doctor. And you get any services those doctors have. Now, the advantage to this one is the current system is they make money by the things they do. So it's in their interest to give you tests, to give you drugs, to give you things, to give you procedures and procedures and procedures. How to make money. But in this model, they get paid $100 or insert amount of money from all their people, no matter what. It's in their best interest that you never show up. It's in their best interest you stay healthy. It's in a doctor's best interest that they sit around playing Uno all day while collecting your money. That's in their best interest. So now the doctor's job is to keep you healthy, not to give you procedures. It changes the incentive of the entire system. And that's what I'm trying to achieve. Health care has to be changed. Once that happens, then you will see healthcare insurance costs come down. Then once that happens, you can now decide, how do we fix healthcare insurance? And that was long-winded, but I hope that helped. Was that clear?
Yes, it was. Thank you. Some good ideas there.
Excellent. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. All right, guys, get a quick break. Remember, 877-480-4120. Call me to ask. Post in the actual link here. I appreciate it. And, of course, if you want to support me, please. This takes up time, energy, and money from me. LarrySharpe.com. The E on Larry Sharpe is for electable. Talk to you after the break.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
you into comics, movies, and pop culture at large? What about music and TV? Then you're in for a treat. This is Michael Dolce, your host on TalkingAlternative.com. I've been professionally writing comic books, screenplays, and music articles for almost 15 years. Catch my show, Secrets of the Sire, at its new primetime slot, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and get the inside scoop on the pop culture universe you love to talk about. For more info, go to secretsofthesire.com.
Hi, I am Dr. Tranquility of Dr. Tranquility PR, successfully meeting the media needs of the wellness community. As an expert myself for major mainstream media, radio, TV, and print magazines, I now help you book interviews for broadcast radio, podcast, television, and IPTV, as well as many, many magazines. Reach me, 212-920-1603.
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
All right, we are back at the governor's house. It's Larry Sharpe running for governor of New York 2018, taking calls and taking questions. Larry Sharpe with an E.com. Brian, what else we got?
Clayton asks, what do you want to do with the SAFE Act, and explain the whole thing?
Explain the whole thing?
Yeah,
you're I'm not going to explain the whole thing. Sorry, no. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, but I'm not going to explain the entire SAFE Act. Guy, read it up. What are you doing? Do some of your own homework. I'm not doing the homework for you. All right, let me tell you about what I'm doing with the SAFE Act. For those of you who don't know, the SAFE Act here in New York State is basically a law that decided that certain pieces of equipment and certain activities are illegal or evil overnight, and it's retroactive. So what happens is people who were legal, law-abiding citizens, legal gun owners, all of a sudden overnight became criminals. This does not make us safer. Now, don't get me wrong. The marketing on this was outstanding. I mean, it has safe in the act, so clearly it makes us safer. It does not. It just makes more people criminals. Give or take, about 1,000 people have been already convicted of SAFE Act offenses. And because you happen to be convicted of this gun offense, it's considered a violent offense. That's embarrassingly bad. It's considered violent because a gun was there. So literally, if you had 8 rounds in your magazine instead of 7, you are now a violent felon. I'm not joking. You are now a violent felon. I happened to meet the first guy convicted of a SAFE Act felony in Jamestown over this weekend. Very interesting. I'm meeting this guy. He has 3 violent felonies now. 3. He's hurt no one. He didn't hit someone over the head with his rifle. He didn't shoot somebody. He didn't threaten somebody. He simply had equipment that New York State, His Majesty King Andrew, has decided to be evil, and now his life is torn upside down. That is wrong. It is unethical. It is immoral. So the first thing I will do in 2019, when I take over as governor, is I'll begin to look and see who I should be pardoning in the first 90 days. I'll begin to pardon all the people who are nonviolent, and I mean really nonviolent, not because it's called violent because it's SAFE Act, nonviolent felons from the SAFE Act. I'll begin pardoning them. And when I pardon them, what that will do is that will show the prosecutors, why the hell am I bothering to commit these people? Why are we chasing them? So I'll begin to pardon them and let them go back into their lives. But the second thing I will do, I will let the law enforcement know this is the absolute lowest priority. I'm talking, you don't enforce SAFE Act unless you're literally taking a nap in the back of the squad car. You don't do anything. It is the absolute lowest priority. And third, I will not fund it in any way, shape, or form. If a bill comes with funding for the SAFE Act, it gets vetoed. Done. Gone. No. Force the Republicans and the Democrats to say, no, we want to waste law enforcement's time on this. Because here are the multiple problems here. Number one, law enforcement doesn't want to enforce this. Cops don't want to enforce the SAFE Act. I've met many of them as I've been going around this state. They don't want to. Prosecutors love it. Easy conviction. But cops don't. They want to be getting bad guys. That's why they became cops. They don't want to go look through someone's bag to see if their magazine holds 7 or 8 bullets in it. It all holds 8. Off to jail you go. They don't want to do that. So we should stop it. But not just that, they're wasting time doing that when they should be going after bad guys. Instead, there are crimes that are unsolved. Go solve those crimes. Arrest bad guys. Don't sit there spending time figuring out whether someone happens to have a certain stock or barrel, whatever the case may be. But it's up even more. A lot of those things that are dealt with in the SAFE Act actually make the firearm easier to use and wield for someone who is physically smaller, like women. So women is harder for them. Stop that too. And here's the worst part. Now people are afraid that we'll come in for their guns, because we are. Clearly, we see it happening. If you're someone who says, Larry, I'm not on the right, I'm on the left, I would like less guns in our society. Okay, if you're that guy, that's awesome. Good for you. Here's an idea. Stop passing harsh gun laws, because as you pass more harsh gun laws, people get afraid and buy more guns. So if you're one of those people who actually wants less firearms in our society, stop passing harsh gun laws, and there'll be less guns in our society. But not just that. On top of it all, now people who have guns are afraid to report, are afraid to register, are afraid to be legal, which, what does that do? That makes law enforcement's job even harder. They don't want to report. They don't want to talk about this. They want to keep their mouth shut. Their gun gets stolen. They don't want to say a word. If something bad happens, they don't want to say anything. So we're making our job harder. So this is why I want to do that. If I do these three things over the course of the first year, 2019, I will give a bunch of assembly people the air cover they want to repeal this. Now, why don't they repeal it without me? Here's the reason why. When I pardon those people, say 100 in the first 90 days, one of them is going to go do something stupid, because that's just people. There's always a bad apple in the barrels, how it works. So one of them's going to go rob a car or beat somebody up or something like that. So he goes and beats somebody up, right? Maybe he shoots somebody, whatever. Something's going to happen, guaranteed. When that happens, the press is going to come after me. Oh my God, Governor Larry Sharpe, you pardoned this guy and he went and stole a car. You're evil, Governor. Look how bad you are. And when that happens, I'm going to say, okay, yep, that guy robbed the car, stole a car, whatever. Great, put him in jail for that. That's a crime. That's a crime. Put him in jail for that. I don't have a problem with that at all. He stole someone's property. Go for jail. I got it. But what he did before was not a crime. And not just that, this country was built on an idea that I would rather have a guilty person go free than to have an innocent person put in prison. And while one person did something bad, 99 didn't. I'm okay with that. I will take that. And when I take that heat, the assembly will then see that, realize I'm giving them air cover. For my military members out there, Overwatch, I'm giving them air cover, and in 2020, they will repeal. They will see that by 2019, it has no teeth and no value, and by 2020, it's repealed. I hope I answered your question. Go check out the SAFE Act yourself. Want me to tell you what SAFE Act? Anyway.
Junie asks, or Jenny, I'm not really sure. How do you feel about unions and the trades? Not shifting gears at all here.
Yeah, no worries.
Really
Gotcha. Yes, I said I'll take any question. And by the way, guys, if you notice, I take any question. When I go out and meet people, I take any question. When I speak, you don't even see me have notes. I just talk. I try to be who I am. I want you to see who I really am. Excuse me. All right, unions and trades.
Yes, sir.
Two separate issues. We'll deal with the unions first. I have nothing against unions. They're great. And if you want to have a union, be a union. It's awesome. What I have a problem with is the government deciding that you must be a union worker. Things like if it's a union shop or non-union shop and you're not a union employee and you've still got to pay union dues. This type of thing to me is insane. I don't get how that works. Collective bargaining is wonderful. People get together and decide they want to decide, hey, I think I should have this or have that. I don't have a problem with that. That's freedom. Freedom of association, freedom of speech. Go on with your bad self. No worries. What I'm against is when government decides that labor is more important or more special than business. It is not. I know in our Constitution, labor is special, and that's a terrible thing in the U.S. Constitution. It should not be special. Labor and business are both valuable, and they should go back and forth as they feel. In a perfect world, they should be in tandem, working together to create value for customers. That's what I want to happen. But sadly, in our state, usually they fight each other, and the customer usually is the one who pays the biggest price. That should go away. That's a bad idea. Again, totally fine with collective bargaining. Don't have a problem with it. If you want to do it, go on. But I am against two parts of the union. One, when it's forced by the government and the government gives them extra bennies and extra success. And two, when their pension is in the state budget. Can't have union pensions in the state budget. That means taxpayers are paying union pensions. No way. That is a bad idea. That has to end. You get rid of those two things, I'm fine. Trades. All right. Trades. I'm a big fan of trades. We are literally putting tons of kids into school, training them for jobs that don't exist, instead of allowing them to go in the trades for jobs that do exist. We've been taught a lie for decades that the answer to success is only one. That is, get good grades in high school, go to college, get a good education, and you'll be successful. That's not true. That hasn't been true for decades. That isn't the only way. Going to college is a way to success, not the way to success. So what does that mean? That means kids should be in trades. Why aren't they? This is what happens often. You got a kid, 16, 17, 18, last 2 years, spends his last 2 years of high school smoking weed and playing video games. Then what does he do? Goes off to college. Now he spent his last 2 years smoking weed and playing video games. So is he ready for college? No, he's a disaster. In most colleges, college is just 13th grade. That's all it is. We're prepping the people for college. We should have prepped them before. We don't. And now it takes the average American 6 years to graduate college if he or she even graduates. So now it takes them 6 years to graduate college. They're 24 years old, never had a boss, got 50K in debt at least. 50K in debt, never had a boss, no work ethic, and we wonder why they're struggling. Now the other guy decides, I'm 16, 17, 18, I'm going to go to BOCES, I'm going to go to CTE, I'm going to go learn a trade. He does that. Now he's 24. He's been working full-time for 6 years. Now he makes six figures, he's got no debt, and he's not the smart one. I think that guy's the smart one. The problem with the trades here, particularly in New York State, but throughout the country, is we have a situation where society says if you don't go to college and you go to BOCES or CTE, that all of a sudden you're not smart. And that's silly. It is demonstrably, obviously false. You can be super smart and go to college, and super smart and not go to college. You cannot be so smart and go to college and not be so smart and go to college. It doesn't matter. These things are not connected in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't matter. The entire school system has to be changed. The entire culture has to be changed when it comes to trades. We need more tradespeople. One of the reasons why, from our first question, sanctuary cities, why we have the sanctuary city issue is because a lot of people who aren't Americans are good tradesmen. And they come here and they work in the trades. Maybe if our kids were doing that, we wouldn't need so many of them. Have you thought about that? We have a symptom that we can actually fix if we fix the problem. All right, quick break. LarrySharpe.com, Sharpe with an E. Help me out. Donate whatever you can. $100, $50, $75. If I'm doing this, I'm not in front of clients. If I'm not in front of clients, I'm not getting paid. I'm sacrificing here. Help me out. Sacrifice back. Be right back.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you feeling unhappy with your body, shape, or size? Ever feel out of control with food? I'm Elizabeth from Nourish the Soul, and on this show, you will uncover the root to these imbalances and discover a permanent solution to having a healthy relationship to food and your body. Join us every Thursday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
TalkingAlternative.com.
Larry Sharpe back here at the governor's house. And I just noticed Shannon Joy joined. Hi, Shannon. I'm so glad to have you. I was just on Shannon Joy's show recently, a couple days ago. I'm glad you are here. Larry Sharpe, running for governor of New York, LarrySharpe.com. So, look, I talked earlier about many different things. I want to grab, I know I've grabbed a couple of questions off of the actual page here. I want to take a caller. So, caller, I am talking to Jacob. Jacob, how are you?
Good. How's it going, Larry?
It's going great. What's going on?
So I was watching you the other day, and you said something about gun control. You were sitting in on an interview.
Yep.
And I thought it was really good. You were just talking about some really important stuff. And you right now, I can tell you just by the way that you hold yourself and the way that you're going about these political issues, I thought it was really smart.
Thank you.
And it's just cool to have a smart politician going after stuff. And one thing I was thinking about is like everybody always wants that opportunity to talk to somebody and throw it out there, someone that they like out there that's running for a higher position. And one thing I was thinking about the other day, I thought it was so cool you put your phone number up. And the thing I was thinking about was if I could talk to Larry Sharpe, I would say that, because you mentioned schools and you talked about how like in schools we got to get kids to quit being dummies and quit bullying people, go give them a hug and stuff like that.
Yep.
And I was thinking about something that they should teach in public schools. I don't think that schools have classes on classes on like spiritual growth. Like there's a lot of people in this world who believe in God, but there's also a lot of people who don't. And it's like in a public sector, how do you deal with that? And one of the things I was thinking about was like, man, I could see you just kicking butt going out there and saying, yo, we need to teach these kids to love in school, from kindergarten and on. And
well, this is a great point, and let me touch on this. I'll touch school in general because you brought up a very good point. I actually don't want Albany to control schools. I actually want local people to control schools, and there's a reason why. I think your point's a very valid one, and that is what is going to work best for our kids. What I'm sure of is the Board of Regents in Albany does not know. What I'm also sure of is our governor does not know. What I am sure of is also that administrators, we throw all these administrators at people, they don't know. Who does know? The teachers and the parents together. They actually do know. If we localize schools, what will happen is some schools will find different ways of teaching love, some won't, some will. If we are transparent in what we do and allow for localized school, and in addition to that, support private schools, and in addition to that, support homeschooling on top of it. Even homeschooling will come up with great ideas, right? All of these things together we will combine to where we'll find the right answers. Right now, our school system is a disaster. It is horrible. We have situations where we have 40% graduation rates. This is terrible. I don't want this to exist. People always say, Larry, if you allow local people to deal with their own things, you're going to find people fail. If you allow for homeschooling, I had this happen in one of my events. Oh, I know this family, they don't know anything about homeschooling. They're not going to teach their kid well. That's not the point. What happens is eventually they will find the right answers. And there was someone at that event, actually, and this was actually, I think, in Geneseo. No, it's Batavia. It's Batavia. Someone actually said, what happened was when they found people who weren't good at homeschooling, locally they found, for example, one guy happened to be a chemist. He taught science, and the kids went there to learn science. One person happened to be, I think he said he was a kickboxer, if I remember the story right. That person taught gym, and they began to find the ways that work for them. And then before, for those of you in public school, I'm not against public school. If you want to go to public school, that's your thing. I got it. Homeschoolers do pretty well. I mean, statistically, they do well. I know clearly there are some bad homeschooling parents. Of course there are. But there's also bad public schools too. It's not like any system is perfect. So there will be. Sure. My point is local school districts with different ideas coming up with the right ideas to teach people how to do it right. What I want to do is two things. One, not teach to a test. Teaching to a test does several things poorly. The first thing it does, some kids don't test well, period. They don't test well. So now all of a sudden, you have a kid who's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, who now is labeled as dumb. You label a kid dumb, that kid is going to act out. That's what kids do. I don't want to label a kid dumb at all, ever. Testing is not the right answer. On top of that, testing does not in any way, shape, or form indicate success in life. So why are we even doing that? What testing does is it's the ability to control teachers and to judge teachers, to judge schools, and control where money goes. That's all testing does. It's a bad idea. We should not be teaching to tests. On top of that, right now in New York State, we have Common Core. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. Now, some people want me to just get rid of Common Core completely. I don't. I do want to repeal the law that put Common Core as mandatory because I'm against the mandate. But some kids do learn better with Common Core. There are very few of them, but some do. I want Common Core to still exist, but only to exist as an option for teachers to use for those kids who need it. That's all. No mandate. Teachers and parents together should decide what ways kids learn. As long as your kid gets 2 + 2 is 4, I don't care how he or she gets it. Whatever. If that's Common Core, if that's fingers and toes, don't care. Whatever it is to get your kid to be better. Now, to your point specifically, when these kids have their biggest problems, almost always it's 16, 17, 18, 19. That's when they have their biggest issues. They're trying to figure out how to do things, how to work. And this is when we abandon them the most. This is when they are wasting their time in their last 2 years of high school. This is when they're smoking weed and playing video games and being bullied and doing dumb things and having no actual purpose. I think we should be very radical when it comes to education. Education should end at 10th grade, K through 10, and it's over. Once it ends at 10th grade and the kids are 16 years old, then they have a choice. They can do one of 4 things. Number one, if they're that super smart, and there are some kids who are, go to college right away. Boom, college, off you go. If you're ready for college and you're that super smart kid who tests amazing well, and at 16, 17, if you want to start testing at 15, 16, go ahead. And again, it's optional to test. If you're that kid at 16 who thinks you test well and you're awesome and you can go to college, test yourself away, my friend. Do it and go to college at 16. Life is good. You'll be 20 and you'll have graduated. Life is awesome. If you're not, guess what? Go to prep school. Take 2 years and go to a prep school. A school will prep you into what you want to do. Maybe you want to be an engineer. Maybe you want to be a doctor, a lawyer. Insert thing here. Take 2 years and go to a prep school. Maybe you want to study English or history or social studies, whatever you want to study. But 2 years prep school so that when you get into that college, you are ready for college. There's no 13th grade. You are ready for college. You can rock and roll and actually do things that make sense, because all the best colleges in the future are going to be in some way, shape, or form either incubators or ways to, have hands-on experience, creativity places. You're going to make things, do things, join things. If you're ready for prep school, you can do that and get both hands-on experience and a real education that matters. Option 3, go to trade school. BOCES and CTE should not be something, oh, that's for the kids who aren't smart, can't go to college. No, that's for the kid who actually wants to do something with his hands. Go do it. Maybe you should be coding for some Apple app. Maybe you should be under the hood of a car. Maybe you should be in a dentist's office. I don't know. Go do what makes you happy. Go jump on and do that. Or number 4, just get a job. We literally have laws, labor laws in this country, back from when kids would get stuck in a loom. What are we kidding? This is silly. We shouldn't be worried about that. Let kids go work. What's going to happen? They're going to get a paycheck and see what taxes is like? Awesome. Good. Let them do that. Go get a paycheck. And here's the best part. Maybe they're working on a farm, right? They have purpose. They feel awesome. They're young and strong. Go be a farmer. The average farmer in New York State is over 55 years old. Well, maybe they'll go do that. Maybe they'll go do something interesting and special and try something new, become tradesmen, go work, get a work ethic. Learn when you're 16 what it is to have a job, to have to show up at 9 o'clock, to have a boss, to know what a work ethic is. I don't see a problem with that whatsoever. It's a wonderful idea. And people always say to me, but Larry, you wanted me to make a decision like this at 16 years old? What if I make a mistake? Good. Make it now at 16, not at 26, and now you're lost. Do it at 16. The average American is going to have at least 5 careers. Why in the world won't we start early? But you start when you're 16. By the time you're 26, you had a 10-year career in something. It's not good for you anymore. You go back to college and change your career. Life is good. My wife's in her 40s. She's going to college this year to get a PhD so she can go change her career. Awesome. This is nothing wrong with that. We start doing that at 16. What we'll have is more kids with purpose, more kids with a job, more kids with an idea, more kids who aren't sitting around waiting for something to happen. If we have that community, we have that purpose, we'll have less unhappy kids. We'll have less kids who don't have a work ethic. We'll have more kids with community. We'll have less shootings. We'll have less deaths. We'll have a better society. I know I was long-winded, but I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it definitely did, man. That was awesome.
Awesome.
I'm glad, man. It's cool. I like what you're doing. It's cool stuff. Just taking phone calls from the public. That's always a good thing to do. And you know, I appreciate that about you. You're in the right direction, man.
All right, thank you, my friend. Have a good night. All right, I know I'm long-winded, guys. It's what I do. I'm a politician. I'm supposed to be, right? So yes. Anyway, guys, if you like what I'm doing and you want me to keep doing it, then you have to help me out. LarrySharpe.com. Donate. Remember, if I'm here, I'm not with my family. If I'm here, I'm not working. If I'm here, I'm with you. This costs money. This takes time. Help me out to move this campaign forward. If you'd like your elected officials to be doing this, show them this. Share this. Tell your friends. Let's make this a normal, everyday thing. Let politicians talk to the people. LarrySharpe.com. All right, guys, thank you so much for tonight. I appreciate it. Support me when you can. I'm at the governor's house, and I will see you next week.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.